Hello, I'm Josh with Cinemology, and I'm going to be talking about Mr. and Mrs. Smith. No, that's not Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. This is a remake by Amazon Prime. I put remake in quotes because this is only Mr. and Mrs. Smith in name. This is a completely different concept, more like The Americans than Mr. and Mrs. Smith was. It's very, very good with some caveats. So I'm gonna go into it without doing too much spoilers, as spoiler free as I can, because this show is fairly new. I think it came out February 2nd, but it's very good. So the series stars Donald Glover as Mr. Smith and Maya Erickson as Miss Smith. They're paired up together for a organization. They're not sure exactly who or what the organization is, but they know it pays well, and they do these missions, and it requires some sort of prior, let's say, military-ish training. So yeah, that's about as much as I can go into without spoiling anything, because the show is very interesting. It keeps you guessing on what they're actually doing, who they're working for, all sorts of stuff. Not all these questions will be answered. It does a very good job balancing the spy stuff and the relationship stuff. That's very good. So what's funny is that the CW, they have shows which do a terrible job on relationship and terrible job on the action, and it just kind of makes the shows drag. Sometimes the action will be great and the relationship stuff will be boring. Looking at you, Arrow. This show does both fantastically. It's like real relationship issues. A lot of the issues this show had are like real problems that you can see people actually having. Most of the drama I've been through in past and current relationships. So it's kind of funny to see it play out where that relationship issue is the main thing, and there's a whole spy mission going on in the background. Donald Glover is fantastic in his role. He is not just acting as himself. He's taking on this character with some trauma, with some hurt in his past, and he's dealing with it. He plays much more of a relatable male type character in this show compared to Earn in Atlanta, who was kind of like a loser, and who had all this potential but kept kind of finding the easy way out. No, this guy is willing to work hard. I say this guy, his name is John Smith, but that's his code name, obviously. But John Smith is willing to work hard and do what needs to be done to make money, to make a living for himself and maybe someone else. Maya Erickson's Jane Smith is a very focused character, very to the point. Let's get the job done. It's refreshing to see a female character handle business and not be basically like a rip off of a male character but done worse. Not kind of like a Captain Marvel or a what's her name in Galadriel from Rings of Power. No, this female character was done right. I mean, it's how the way she acts is very cool, very interesting, and it balances well with what they say with her character is. It's not all rainbows and butterflies and she's perfect. She may do things the right way but mess up along the way, causing friction relationship. It's interesting how he's kind of the heart and she's kind of the motive. It's an interesting blend, and that does lead to a lot of conflict. Yes, so once again, action fantastic, drama fantastic. Now to what I didn't like. Last time I said this, or maybe a time before I said this, someone complained so much. This is a me thing. You don't have to agree with me. Stop complaining. But I'm not a fan of profanity. The show started off really light on the profanity, and then it kind of popping off a lot. So it was full of that. If you're not a fan of profanity, stay away. That was really the big thing. If you don't like, certain action scenes that get a bit more graphic, there's that. It's not a ton of it, but it's definitely there. But like I said, it's not a ton of it. There's a lot more graphic things. Like Game of Thrones would be a lot more graphic than that. And then there is some physical contact. It never gets too graphic or too in depth. But for some people, that can be triggering. I know I'm not a fan of that type of stuff. There's a lot worse things. Once again, Game of Thrones, but it is still there. Overall, I mean, this show was fantastic. I really did enjoy it. It's not for everybody. I'm not going to recommend it to everybody. But if you like spy stuff, you should definitely check this out. Even if you didn't like the original Mr. and Mr. Smith, or even the Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie one, you should probably still give this one a watch, and let me know what you think. This show is only available on Amazon Prime. And just to end it off, I want to say Donald Glover struck gold again. This show is fantastic. Thank you guys. Bye bye.